Hello and welcome to Nollywood Film Club. I am Mr. C, a Verico critic. I hope you're doing well. We have a fun conversation. No Mrs. C, she's away, although she was there in spirit and via WhatsApp messaging me. But yeah, I'm solo on this one. Fun conversation. Eh, Interesting pushback section. We have a few new speakers in there, some old ones, some ones you recognize. But yeah, this was a very fun conversation. I enjoyed it a lot. And it's quite long, so I'm going to let you get on with it. And I hope you enjoy Nollywood Film Club discussing Tokunbo. But we will begin. Welcome to Nollywood Film Club. We do discuss Nollywood movies every week. Sometimes we do Nollywood conversations, but today we're going to be discussing a brand new Netflix original in Tokunbo. We'll discuss what we don't like in the good. We'll discuss what we don't like in the bad, um, and then we'll disagree in the pushback section, and then we'll do a little summary. We'll start with things that we do like. Nollywood Must Change. You want to tell us what you liked about Tokunbo?
Hi. Um, I don't know why I'm laughing. Actually, what do I like about this movie? Hmm. So I think I like Dara Simi. Yeah. This is not her best performance I've ever seen, but I kind of like her because she was better than everyone else in this movie. So I like her performance. Um, then I like the part where Tokumbo was singing. When his wife said, when the wife was in labor, he was singing baby shark do 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 do. That was the only part. That was the only part that made me laugh while watching this movie. I was like, what? Whose idea was that to put that in the script? He was singing baby shark do 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 do. I was like, what's going on? So what else do I like about this movie? I think those are the only two things I like about this movie. Because I just tried to watch this movie. Like I tried 4 times to complete the movie. So I think that's all I like about the movie.
Wow. Shout out to Baby Shark. It's not every time um uh rhymes nursery rhymes gets a positive, but there we go. Um Thanks not much change. Otas, do you want to tell us what you liked about Tokumbo?
Sure. Um, so I like the little girl. She was cute. I also like that in this movie she doesn't randomly show up with a firearm at the end. So that was good. I thought the story was straightforward enough. It went from A to Z, and it told you from the very beginning where it was going, and it went there without too much deviation, I think. Gideon is so handsome. Oh my god, he's aging nicely. Uh, I thought Chidimokeme played a decent villain by way of Gaza. I thought the fight scene at the end was funny, especially with Tokunbo challenging Gaza to a fight and then losing so tremendously. Like that guy has never fought one day in his life. I don't think he landed one punch except for the part where they conveniently let him lie there so that he can choke him out. But anyways, I thought the fight scene was funny. But yeah, that's it. I mean, it's not terrible. It's definitely an okay watch, I think.
Wow. Okay, so we are putting the fight scene as being funny now. Good. This tells you how this space is going to go. All right. Thanks, Otas. Eccentric Shozy, do you want to tell us what you liked about Tokumbo?
Hi, good evening. Um, I saw this movie yesterday. I really, really enjoyed it, to be honest. I have quite a couple of things I liked. So, am I talking about what I liked only, or do I get to talk about what I did not like as well?
Just what you liked at this point. We'll get to the things we don't like in a bit.
Okay. What I liked about this movie, the first thing, of course, like the cinematography was on point. I mean, the use of lightning and deliberate angles, I must say, was really commendable. I personally enjoyed the visual effects. I think they were eye catching. Um, I like the way Gideon Okoke killed his role. I feel like this movie, he really gave his all, like God, the passion. He had this raw, passionate performance. I just could not explain. Like, it was one of the from Gideon. If you've been
Can other people hear? Is it just me?
I can't hear anymore.
Okay. Eccentric shows you have we seem to have lost you. If you can hear us, please just go back off and come back on, and we'll continue with you. At this time, we can go to Eccentric shows. Try like going off the speakers and coming back on. Meanwhile, we can go to Chinweke.
Hey everyone, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we
Oh,
can.
all right, cool. Okay, full disclosure. So I've not really been able to finish this film. I have about say 40 minutes left. So been trying since yesterday, so make of that what you will. But thus far, the things I like thus far, I don't know if I'm going to like anything else because I don't know. The thing I like thus far, I like Gideon's commitment to his performance. Like there's this fire in him, like there's this intentionality behind him that I really liked. Like he was really, you could tell that he was really committed to it. I liked a couple of the filmmaking techniques on display here. They're not really something you see in Nollywood per se. Like the thing with like concurrent storylines happening where they like it's a way to save time where you're being shown multiple things happening at the same time. Uh, that was nice to see. I don't know if I could say I like this, but I see what they're trying to do, and I like that they're attempting it. I like the ambition of the film. We'll talk about the execution later, but I like the ambition of the film, the ambition of the project. Let's see. Let me look at my notes. Funlala is mother, so that probably falls in the eyeball category. Whatever. Let me see. I liked some of the locations that they used. It showed us something different. It's not like the regular. I mean, they had their drone shots, but it was like something. It was like there's this train station at Marina that they captured. I don't know. That's a train station I used to. That sort of that's it. I just liked it. I just liked seeing it. Something another a place that I could see that wasn't the Lekki Bridge. Um, let's see. Some of the sound design was interesting. It was intentional. I just like there's parts where you sort of like you see what they were trying to do, or you see that they were doing what they wanted to do, and I don't know. I think that's pretty much it for now. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Chinweke. We'll have to mix bag at the beginning of this. But let's see whether it picks up from here. Stephanie, tell us what you liked about Tokunbo.
Okay. First thing I liked was the poster. So when I saw the poster, I was actually like intrigued. I was excited to see what the movie would bring. That story for another time. But I like the poster. I also like Tokunbo. I think his name is, I can't remember, his Gideon Okike. Yes, that's it. I liked him. He did a good job. All that sweat wasn't for nothing. So Yeah, he did good. He was ready to act despite the script, but yeah, I think he did a really good job. I also like the child actor. She was good. I think maybe she just likes the crime life, because after a green fever this, she was just ready to, like, she was ready to go on with her kidnapper. I don't know, but I guess she likes that life. But yeah, she was good. And I don't know, kind of the discourse that's been on Twitter mostly was being pregnant wife that's about to have a child versus your homeboy. But I don't know if I don't think it was intentional, but they did the whole pregnant wife in labor versus husband out making money. I don't know. I know that wasn't intentional, but that's another discuss. But yeah, I mean, that's all I like. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Stephanie. More praise for Gideon. Let's try eccentric Shozi again. Eccentric Shozi, let's see whether we can hear you this time. If you can tell us what you liked.
Sorry, my network is really shitty. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I was talking about what I liked in the movie. I remember pointing out that I really liked the cinematography and the use of lighting and the deliberate angles. I think it was really commendable. Then, like I said, I enjoyed the visual effects. They were really, really like eye-catching for me. And the star of the show, Gideon Okeke, who played Tokunbo, I think he really gave his all. Like I said, I've been watching him for a very long time, since all days, where love happens. So I think this is the best performance I have ever seen from him. Then the little girl, Darasimi, of course, she's a little genius. I mean, she killed her role. I think she was born for the screen. Um, I liked the way they used conflicting characters. So there's this in a
Oh no, I think we've lost Shozi again. All right, sorry, Shozi. I don't think your network likes you. So we'll move to Halima. Do you want to tell us what you liked about Tokunbo?
Okay. I didn't think I was going to speak to this, so I don't have my thoughts gathered, but I'll just say a few things I can remember. I liked Gideon Okeke in this film. I think is it was very intentional on how he was going to express all the emotions he was feeling at different points. And like I could tell, like his face really did a lot for him in this film, basically. I like the cinematography, I like the edits. There's a particular scene that I saw where like the Gideon Okeke's character was in a particular place, and it was like they wanted to switch to like the transition basically in that scene was really good. I don't remember if it was at the beginning. I think it was at the beginning. I thought it was going to be like a time travel thing where they're taking us back in time or something, but it was still the same day or something. But yeah, it was really nice. I also liked the way they tried to like build up a bit of tension when they showed like the conversation between Gideon and the captor, and then the governor and who was she even talking to? I don't know. But yeah, that whole scenery was nice. What else? I liked the story they were trying to tell. Something like that. Like there's okay, yeah. Somebody I think it was Chirike, yeah, he said the ambition. Yeah, I liked the ambition of it. Yeah, so I think that's oh, I also liked Scar. What's his name again? Uh God.
Chidi Mokime.
Yeah, Chidi Mokeme. I
Chai.
liked I liked Chidi Mokeme as well. And yes, I think that's it for me.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Halima. More, I like the intentions. Thanks, Chireke, for starting that off. We start shaming people on here for. I like I see the intention. But Timmy, do you want to give us the things that you liked about Tokunbo?
Okay, first, like someone here had said previously, I liked the cinematography. I liked some of the music choices in some of the scenes. I liked some of the choices that they made with the music in the background. I also liked how the opening scene was reminiscent of the opening scene from Living in Bondage. Seeing it was from the same director, I liked that. I liked how the story seems to have a clear direction. There's like a logical flow of events. Like this happens, then this happens. So there's that. Um, then there was the match cut that was in one of those scenes. I like that too. And I think that's all.
Okay. I didn't think I'd hear logical in this part of the stage, but there we go. I think is that okay. Great. Do you want to tell us? I think it's film heady as well. Film heady. Do you want to give us your the things you liked about Tokunbo? Film heady, are you there?
Hello, good evening.
Yeah. Good evening.
I think I like the cinematography. You know, there's a particular scene where is it the central bank governor is walking in and with the chaos. So I like that scene. I think they also showed it in the trailer. I liked that scene. Then there's another scene where the is it Gideon Okeke's wife? That's the character is the scene where the child died. It was like my child is not breathing. I think that's the only scene where I felt a bit of pity, for the for that character. So yeah, I think I like that scene too. So yeah, that's just it.
Oh, okay. Let's try Centric Shazy one more time. Centric Shazy, we know you liked Gideon's performance. We know you liked some of the shots. We know you liked the effects. In addition to others, and in addition to those things, what else did you like?
I'm so sorry. MTN decided to embarrass me today. I really don't know what I've done. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I also liked their music supervision and the sound. I felt like it was on point. I liked the color grading. The costumes they used were amazing. I enjoyed the use of unconventional frames. I was trying to explain the dynamic of conflicting characters because I've really been learning about like movie making recently. The CBN governor being at the mercy of a kidnapper and ex-smuggler trying to kidnap someone else's child to save the life of his own child. I felt like it was really conflicting and ironical. I enjoyed Chidimokeme. I mean, he bodied his role. His facial expressions, his tone, I felt like he did well. What else? I enjoyed the way they could evoke emotions, especially the part where Tokumbo was frustrated, the part he would shout, the part he would be so frustrated and regretting his actions. I enjoyed the few scenes with plausible tension. I think those were the few things I enjoyed. Yeah.
Okay. No, thanks. Thanks, Shozy. Let me just check. Is that everybody? All right. Okay. I'm not missing anybody. All right. I have Mrs. C. Mrs. C is not here, but I do have the things that she likes. She says Gideon had some decent moments when he wasn't trying to be funny or local. Um, Aziza's Bob was beautiful. Darasimi is adorable. Ramsey's commitment to ancient filmmaking is adorable. All right. Okay. Those were the four. By the way, if you do want to, I should have said this earlier on. If you do want to share things you liked, please do so underneath the space. If you don't want to speak, you can comment underneath the space, and we'll read it out. Okay. I thought I had JB on. Okay. What I liked, I think most people have said everything I liked, but just a couple of things I did like. Love. There's a lot of Gideon in here that I do like. A lot of Gideon's performance. I think outside of Toby, I think Gideon could fill in that next. He could be our action movie star, Nollywood's other action movie star. So it's not only Toby. I think he has a kind of charisma that works. I think obviously clearly he's working out and all of that, and there is a decent amount of physicality to his performance that I think would lend to action roles. So I like that for him. The other thing I liked was Chidi Mokeme's performance. I think this is a better performance than the Scar performance from whatever that film's whatever what's it called again, whatever, Shantytown, that's the one. I think it's better than his Shantytown performance. I couldn't get over that I'm a bad guy, and I have a frog in my throat. I think that's a lazy version of a bad villain, of a villain, and I'm glad he didn't. I mean, like, he can still do this, and he just allowed himself to just act more. It's not it's not a mind-blowing performance, but it's the kind of performance that this kind of film would usually lend itself to. I think those are my main things that I liked about this film. I do think Ramsey, but I need to he needs to do a little bit more work, but he could be my uh what's this woman's name? Is it Hashima, the woman who did Namaste Wahala? He could be the male version for me, for Nollywood. He just needs to do a little bit more work on some things, or less work, depending on how you see it. But yeah, outside of that, yeah, not too much for me to chew on, to be honest. All right, we can Hamisha, thank you, Mrs. C. Ricky says she likes the fight scene. Is there anything else? Okay, nothing else. All right, let's move on to the things we do not like. All right, not even much change. You want to kick us off?
Okay. Sorry, there's noise in the background, so I don't know. I really don't like the writing of this movie because everything uh feels forced. Like the whole things, the sequence of happenings just feel like, okay, we must reach this point, we must get to this point, we must have this point. Do you understand? And I didn't feel connected with the characters. Like there was no reason for me to root for any of the characters. Even to Kumbo, I was like, why are they doing this? It felt like something we've done over and over. Someone trying to meet a deadline, his child would die, he must do something to do something, you know. Even though there's nothing bad having that, but I really don't feel connected with Tokunbo as an hero. I mean, as is he as a hero? I don't feel connected with Tokunbo. Do you understand? I really don't feel connected with him because I really don't know too much. I'm not like a lot about him to like, okay, let me feel for this character. So, and one of those things I said felt forced in this movie is the fight between Tokunbo and Gaza. Gaza is not the main villain in this movie. So I don't know why we now have a big fight between Tokunbo and Gaza. Because I could remember that Gaza didn't give him money. So if you ask me for money, I don't give you. Does that make me the enemy? Like seriously, the person who asked you to kidnap someone's child is the enemy. So all of a sudden we have a fight between Gaza and Tokunbo. I was confused. What's going on? you know. And then the plot twist, they wanted to give us the shock value. All of a sudden, they modulated this guy's voice. What's his name? Majid. They modulated his voice so that we won't know it's Majid, or maybe it was the one this woman was speaking to that was in Abuja to take care of things. You know, I was like, why did they have to modulate the voice? Even if we knew that it was Majid, we didn't know it was the other guy. The only thing they could have just done that could have just revealed him as the villain, and then later they revealed him as the other guy who who the woman trusted to take care of things in Abuja. That would have been better. But I saw no reason for them modulating the voice. I was like, what's the purpose of doing this? You know, and they now revealed him Majid. Oh, we should be like, hey, Majid is in this movie. Seriously? There was a lot. It was a struggle for me to watch this movie because at first I felt like, well, did this drag? This movie did not drag actually because the start. I like the start of the movie. They let us know that Tokunbo is a good driver. Is a badass driver. Yes, that's a good character. Introduction to a character. That is a good one. But at the point, I just lost interest in this movie because I felt like they were forcing the whole thing. He has a deadline to meet. He needs to save his child. You know, he needs to do this. And then someone, I don't know, when he was asking someone that, oh, guy, is that cocaine or what? I was like, what kind of foolish question is that? That one too was sniffing cocaine in front of him. Like, seriously, they needed to do better with the writing. And sexual assault in this movie, I see no reason for that sexual assault part where Gaza was molesting, was assaulting Adonai, this character. I saw no reason for that part in the movie. Sometimes we just want to. Gaza is already a bad person. You've introduced Gaza, he macheted someone's hand off, and I'm like, okay, why do we need to like put that sexual assault in it? And then when Adonai wanted to kill Gaza in the end, I was like, when Gaza boy sleeping, when she picked up the gun, stepped forward and shot Gaza. Were they sleeping? Because I didn't know the whole fight scene. When I said the whole fight was funny, it was not even funny to me because it was just annoying. That why do we have this fight scene in this movie?
But
What
look
was
at you
the
laughing now. Look at you laughing now. So
yeah, I know I'm laughing, but seriously, why do we have this fight scene in this movie? Because there was no need for that. The whole helicopter chase, like, why would the mother of the victim be there? Seriously, I just don't. The whole thing, the way they wanted to do things was forced. I think they had the plan that this must be in the movie. This thing must be in the movie. That must be a car chase. There must be this and that. And then the injecting of they were injecting her with a sedative. This girl was so it doesn't work like that. All of a sudden, she just get out of it and start talking normally. Someone who is sedated, seriously, there was no even sign that she was drowsy when she's talking. She was talking like as if. See, this movie annoys me because I feel like Ramsey Nouah should know better. Ramsey Nouah should know better. He should know better. I was expecting better from him, but I'm seriously disappointed with this movie. I'm seriously disappointed. I was looking forward to this movie to be one of the good ones we would have this year. But good luck to people that like it though. I wish them well. Next time, I think next time they will do better. That's all I have to say.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Nollywood must change. Oh god. We need to have a conversation about Ramsey's directing. There's a lot to talk about. I'm a little ashamed that a core member of this thing is saying that they expected much better, expected Ramsey Nouah's directed film to be one of the good ones of the year. I know Living in Bondage was good, but that's a
Living
different topic for
good.
it.
Everybody was good. I thought you would like
Yes,
get
yes,
better with
yes. That's it. Don't worry. It's a different conversation. You have to look at all Ramsey Noah's movie and know that why Living in Bondage actually worked. But that's a different conversation. I can see Eccentric Shades is fighting some of you guys in the comment section. We'll get to Pushback. Hopefully, we can hear from all the disagreements. But from the people who have been sharing dislikes, I'm going to read a couple. Eh, okay, it's mainly agreement. Still, human says there's no way I would let anyone who did that come close to my child again. Yes, with yeah, that's an interesting move. You kidnapped my daughter. Would you like to be a driver? All right. Otas, do you want to tell us what you didn't like about Tokunbo?
Do I want to? It's a loaded question. But so in general, this movie was straightforward, but it has so many lazy plot, like it, I don't know, plot holes, plot contrivances, just very things that were done for the specific purpose of what the movie was trying to achieve. And it was very, very lazy. And that annoyed me a lot throughout the movie. Like we have this girl who's been planning this entire thing with, I don't know his name in the movie, Majid Michael. And all of a sudden she's loudly whispering in the bathroom and the door opens so the police can hear her and arrest her and Michael's character. Michael's character is also a pretty, like, as a villain, as a bad guy, I didn't really understand why he was there. He didn't have any real motivation. He didn't have any real connection to anything that was happening. It was just very random. Like, even when they did the big reveal, honestly, I thought it should have been Gaza because that would make so much sense and tie the story in a lot tighter, but whatever. Um, the drugging thing was also very annoying because, you know, I've taken cough medicine that has knocked me out for longer. And it's just very interesting because it's a 3-hour trip and he cannot keep her asleep for 3 hours. And it's on purpose. It's because they kind of have to form the bond and show her tenacity. And then he likes her and she likes him. And it's all very, like, everything is just so very, it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't flow. It doesn't feel like it belongs anywhere in the movie. There's no real conversation about how the governor and her bodyguard just knows that she's alive, like towards the end. The convenient gun on the floor. It just all was very, very mismatched. It's like they were just grabbing things from places and putting them in places. It was Fast and Furious in some places. It was the transporter in other places. I don't understand why the assistant does what she does. Like, it can be because her boss called her ugly shoes ugly. Like, those shoes were ugly. That can be the reason you're kidnapping. Like, it just didn't make any sense. I did not understand the rape either. It just felt lazy. And the character that Miss Ayinda, I think that's her name. I never remember her first name or her character's name. But the character that she plays is probably one of the laziest writings of women that has ever existed in Nollywood. She says no purpose in this story other than to further their plots along. So she is establishing that what's his name is a bad guy. And then she's also the aunt to the guy whose arm they chopped off in the beginning out of nowhere. And then she's also the one who found, like, shoots him. It's just all very random. But I wasn't my favorite. The story just, I feel like they could have done the story a lot better just because there's already so many examples of it on TV that are much, much better that there's no way they couldn't have tied this up a lot better.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Otas. Eccentric Shazy, what did you not like about Tokunbo?
Um, okay, what I did not like about Tokunbo, I have quite a few. Okay, I think the first thing that really annoyed me about this movie was like there were certain scenes where you would see most of them running fiercely, driving like mad people. I mean, fighting for long duration, and yet their clothes were intact. Not a single drop of sweat on their faces. Haba, haba, haba. Like, let's be realistic. I know that, like, in the real world, sweating is like a natural reaction when you're in any kind of tense situation. But I feel like they didn't pay attention to details in that aspect. Then, oh God, if nobody's going to say it, I will. Majid Michelle and, or rather Majid Michael and Ivio Kujaye. Oh God, oh God, oh God. One line. I think their character or the roles they played, it felt very flat. And that's all I have to say about those two people. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't understand why they were in the movie. That's just the truth. Then, I didn't actually- when I heard two things from the movie Tokunbo, when I heard ex-smuggler and Ramsey Nouah, I already put two and two together. Like, Ramsey Nouah, but there's like he's going to direct this thing properly. I mean, it's going to be so action-packed, but apart from like maybe those carries in scenes and the fight between Tokunbo and Gala, that fight by the way was horribly choreographed and edited, my opinion. Apart from that, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I just needed that extra twist, something really thrilling to captivate me along with the beautiful storyline. It just wasn't there. I don't know how to explain it, but maybe it's with the execution because I mean it's a beautiful storyline. I mean, wonderful cast, but maybe again it's just the execution of the movie. I felt like Ramsey Noah played it safe, but he did a good job. He tried, but to me, it wasn't really that action gripping. I think those were just a few things I didn't like movie.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Josie. And MTN clearly doesn't like this movie because it stayed for all of your bad. Stephanie, do you want to tell us some of the things you do not like about Tokunbo?
Yeah. So when the movie started, it started out nice with the whole car chase, the police chasing Tokunbo. And one part I really liked was when he called someone and told them to like stage the boys playing football so that the police couldn't catch him. I thought that was really nice. So I was expecting more from the movie from that point, and then it disappointed me because nothing like that was shown again. Like I expected when he was taking the girl to the border, I was expecting a car chase or something, just using his wits like he showed us in the beginning, using his wits to outmaneuver the police or something, just something at least, and it fell really flat. I mean, he as an actor, he tried, but the plot was the script, I would say, was just not helping him. Also, Majid Michael, the villain was very unserious. That was not a good villain. First of all, he didn't plan well because if he had taken 5 minutes to even plan this out very well, I'm sure it would have. He may have succeeded. You're planning something, you don't even give the person your a good card to like for the getaway. Like it doesn't make sense. Very unserious villain, and him and Aziba or Aziza, I don't know what her name is, but again, no connection to any of the characters. I didn't feel anything for anybody. I mean, the only person I felt sorry for was the baby that died, and that's just because it's a baby. But there was no emotional connection to anybody. I even thought Tokunbo wasn't even serious about saving his child because there was no urgency. Like act with urgency. Like you're not even serious about saving your child. So how am I going to champion for you? Like how am I supposed to support you in this your journey going on to the dark side? I don't know. There was no urgency there. And I'm tired of women always being like the spoils for everything, rape. Like um I wish Tokumbo's wife had played more parts in this show, in this movie. Like if they were partners in trying to kidnap that girl, I just wish that she would have had more to do. That would have been a nice juxtaposition of like the Nike's mother, the CBN president, and her. Then that would have been a nice thing to show, like two mothers trying to save their children in very different ways. But I don't know, she was just there for no reason. That would have been nice to see. I don't know. I just want, like, why have the women there if they're not going to do anything? Like, just take them out then. The fights and everyone has talked about that. It was really annoying, and them chanting Gaza, Gaza, Gaza. I felt like, when flies are buzzing in your ear, like just stop, like shut up. That was what it felt like. Um, I don't know. I expected more. Again, I'm just going back to that beginning scene. Like I expected more from that chase at the beginning. So this was a letdown. But yeah, on to the next one, I guess.
Gaza, Gaza, Gaza. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Stephanie. Jamaica, do you want to tell us some of the things you did not like about Tokunbo?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I'm quite surprised that some things people are saying they like some saying the opening scene. For me, the opening scene is where everything started to fall apart because the car chase was just. I think someone mentioned this earlier. Was I don't want to use the word poorly choreographed, but it could. There was a lot of room for improvement. It did not. They didn't quite sell it. It was just anyhow. So that's why I just gave up when the film even started. And another thing that's surprising me that people like is the cinematography because I found it very distracting and inconsistent and incoherent. It felt like it was more about style than substance. Like it distracted from the story a lot rather than enhanced it. It just seems like someone was just selecting pretty pictures. And this ties into the editing as well. The editing did not really flow well with the cinematography. Like you could see a lot of shots that follow shots were inconsistent and didn't really match. So it just threw me off a lot. And even with the pacing of dialogue, that's something you can tighten with editing. You know that thing where actors sort of like wait for each other to finish their line, where this person says their line and there's like a small gap, and then the next person says theirs. That's something you can tighten with editing. This is something our skit makers have actually have had on lock for a while now. They do that, and they manage to. They also tell stories with editing, like that scene with the catches. That's something you can do with sound design and editing. You do quick cuts and sound. Now it's easier said than done, of course. But I mean, when you're operating at this level, it's to be expected. So I don't know. And then there was also a general lack of attention to detail and laziness throughout the film. Like with the pizza boxes, you could see that they were just stickers, and some parts of it were sticking out. I mean, you could forgive that and say that it wasn't really pizza. Okay, cool. Let me just leave that one. But it was just I don't know something about it. You just know that it's a production thing. That it's just someone just lazily slapped it on there. And then the way they portray Nigerian wealth and power, it's just very bland. It doesn't. It's not. It doesn't give. It's very bland, and It doesn't. It's not the way I understand it. It's not. It's not authentic at all. One particular scene, the board meeting with the CBN stakeholders or whatever, that place just completely lacked realism. It felt like I was watching all those kids where someone is doing like a parody of a lawyer and then they're just saying big words like crinkum crankum just to. It felt like a parody or something. I couldn't take it seriously. They were just throwing around big words, trying to sound all serious and all of this. I'm like, please, 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 this is not how it is in Nigerian context. Like it felt like the person whoever wrote it lacked an understanding of how this sort of thing works. And a better alternative of how to show this thing would be in like the OG King of Boys. There's a way Kimi Adetiba captured power. She didn't need to go to a meeting or because to put that kind of thing off, it's a lot. So there's a clever way you could do around it, like maybe just showing the guy in his house or something like that. Or let me see. So what else? Oh, that one's that sniff cocaine. I don't know. They need to arrest everybody involved in that scene. I don't know what that was about. Like it was just so ridiculous. It was just that's one of the points that made me just pause and go and do something else with my life. Again, so I mentioned that I like the ambition of the project, but the thing is, when you have ambition like this, you have to step up. Oh, and the execution it left a lot to be desired. For there's a lot of room for improvement. And I hate that I'm slagging off this film, but I mean these are the levels. I'm judging it based on the ambition it showed. So if you're going to attempt to tell such an ambitious story, me too. I don't know. I'm going to judge you with that based on your ambition, not based on your execution. Let me see what else. Yeah, the execution was just left to be desired. For my brain was just doing a lot of filling in the gaps, and I hate it when that happens with films. I don't like that. Like, sell this thing to me, deceive me. Don't make me come and be stressing myself that I'm watching your film. Um, yeah, I think that's it for now. And mind you, I've not finished this film. Like, this is just this is just over halfway in, and honestly, I'm not necessarily sure that I want to continue because it's just it's almost an okay. Let me just stop here. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Chinweke. I'm happy you've taken a couple off my list because there's so many. I was wondering how I'm going to do this, but thank you for reducing my list small. This cinematography thing people have been saying. I don't know. I guess maybe people aren't used to varied shots. I get that Nollywood doesn't give us a lot of that, but this was like a montage of shots from different kinds of films. They did not belong together, and distracting was a perfect way to describe it. So thanks for that, Chineke. And I just wanted to say that board scene, that board scene, actually, this is a genuine question. uh, do we know who she was talking to? Because it seemed like, I don't know whether it seemed like maybe she was talking to the crypto. I'm not sure if she was talking to, I don't know who she was talking to be honest. I really don't know, but they were the dissenters. I don't know whether they were part of her board, or they were uh some people, some, I don't know,
Oh yeah,
organization.
they look like a random collection of people. Like, I
I
don't
was like,
even
who are
know.
these people? It
Like,
is, what's going on here?
where are they from?
These are
Who
the
are you guys?
crypto representatives of, I was like, what, why are these people defending crypto as per what? I didn't understand what was. I kept on looking at me to see, have I missed something? Oh, we're going to slap a we'll offer you bailout. What does that mean? What does that mean here? What does that, oh my god. Anyway, yes, it just felt like they were just throwing, just amazing how that scene could have been done, to be honest. That's just amazing, I have to say. Anyway, thanks, Chinweke. Uh ha- uh, Shozi, Shozi, don't worry, we'll have pushback section where we'll disagree with each other. I'm sure you have a lot of disagreements. Halima, do you want to do you want to give us tell us some of the things that these people.
Hey God, I'm not going to say much because I have just 8 minutes left before the live eviction show, so I can leave. Anyways, I think Shrek has said most of it. So my first thing is that this movie is not real. You know, when you see things happen on social media or like anywhere, I just like, this thing is not real. This cannot be real. Like, una not real. That's how I felt about this film. Like, what is this? First off, who is hiring their child's kidnapper to become their personal bodyguard or whatever? Which child? 10 years old, 8 years old, 15 years old, do they kidnap? And they're just feeling so comfortable, like it's your father's car, and they're just laughing and banting with the guy, and like, don't talk to this. My mommy catch you. I'm like, nigga, shut the fuck up. Like, this movie was hilarious to me because I'm like, people want to do comedy, just do comedy. There's no way this thing is real. Even Tokunbo, they say you should go and deliver package. So you think in your heart of heart that you're just delivering pizza and they're giving you 150K? Nigga, are you real? Like, are all of you in this film, are you real? That's how I just felt about it. I feel like everything was not well thought out. Like, at no point would you feel like, okay, this story is making sense. Right from the beginning, or right from the moment the girl got kidnapped, I could tell that Aziba Abi Azina had something to do with it. I'm like, okay, yes, it's you. The moment she picked up her phone and she was like, oh Ray, you're God sent. I said, okay, it's Ray that kidnaps the babe. So it's like, yeah, we could tell. Nothing was, there was no suspense. They did not tie anything. Everything was literally right in our faces, looking at us like this. Like, ugh. Even Tokunbo and his family's video shoots, photo shoots. I don't understand. When did they born the boy? 18 months later. When did they? When did the boy even have the heart disease? Since when? For when? How? What really happened in this film? We don't know. I don't know these characters. I don't know anything about their lives. I don't know why I should be interested in this story. Mr. Scar. Why? I don't even think the entire story revolving around that area, like that part of his life, was very necessary, to be honest. His uncle that we never saw, whoever the person is that we never saw, the the meeting or the press conference that the governor was supposed to hold, why was it so important to Ray that he would kidnap our daughter for it? Like, you are not telling us anything. They're just showing me different people that I don't know their names and I don't want to know their names, and telling me, oh yeah, this, that. And I feel like we need somebody to actually direct Darasimi well. Me, I don't know what people liked about her performance. So, I mean, she's cute, but like, I don't think that's the appropriate reaction to things like that, right? Also, what's her name? Madam Governor. She did not know how to cry. They have kidnapped your child. Cry like somebody that they actually kidnapped your daughter. She don't know how to cry. She don't know how to be emotional. It reminded me of one play that we did when I was in uni. And I remember this scene where the girl was crying that her son was dead. And I'm like, why can't you do like that? Why are you crying like, it was so cringe. I was just like, nope. All of you are liars. You don't know that child. You don't care for her. Because if you care for her, you will cry better. Even the husband that came, no coffee, two cream, no sugar. I'm like, get the fuck. All this American rubbish that you are bringing to my face. You are hilarious. Oh my god. I feel like this movie was just hilarious. Like, as I was watching, I was just laughing like, you are jokers. Proper jokers in everything that you did. Yes. I don't want to go into so many details because I just feel like it's not necessary. If you cannot do so much to make your work, palatable to people that want to watch it, why should we spend so much time breaking it down? So yes, peace. That's my 2 cents.
All right. Thanks, Halima. All right. To me, do you want to tell us some of the things you do not like about Tokunbo?
Okay. Regarding the things I didn't like, Gideon Okeke's performance, I did not buy into it because I felt it was over the top, and I felt like he was trying to compensate for the lack of character development in the story. So he had to put a lot of effort into making the character more endearing and will I say palatable for us to enjoy. Um, I feel like this film wanted to say something, but it couldn't say anything. I feel like there were some parts of this that they could have used to maybe touch on something about, I don't know, because Madam Governor is so passionate about corruption. And so I was thinking that maybe they could have used this to show how, um, because of the corruption in government, people like Tokunbo have to, do things like this in order to fend for themselves, even when they go to the hospital. Maybe because of the corruption in the hospital, they are, I don't know. There's just something that they could have done with, the things that I think they wanted to touch on, but they didn't do anything with. I also feel like some scenes lasted longer than necessary. There was a lot of superfluous stuff, and another thing is there was how do I say this? There were times when they focused on some things that you would think would be relevant to the story later. I remember at the beginning when he was doing his training montage, the camera was just for some reason focused on that pink pig thing. And for some reason I thought it would be relevant to the story until when I until when I finished the film, I was, for some reason, thinking that, that thing would have been more relevant. Even what's her name? The assistant's shoes. The assistant's shoes. I was thinking that maybe they would have tied it into her what's it called? Planning, because she said that she didn't sleep, that she slept in the office or something like that. So I thought that they would have tied it into it and shown that, oh, in the flashback there was a time when she was planning this thing all along with Raymond, and she was wearing the what's it called, the slippers, the shoes rather. The Nike character, I feel like I wish that they gave her more personality beyond being cute and being all. Yeah, I feel like that's it. My problem with a number of the things in this is that the characters were very. I didn't feel anything for any of the characters, and I think another thing is I would blame this on the fact that a lot of the performances in this obviously felt like they were acting. You could tell everybody was acting. Even the Oga of the police, when he called her, when he called Madam Governor, I was like, "Oh, it's a kidnap." I was like, "No shit, it's a kidnap." Even the way he was even delivering the news, he just felt like he was over it, and oh my god, I just want to be out of here. So yeah, those were the things I didn't like, I guess. Yeah. Oh wait, I have a few other things here. The Raymond character, that was not developed in any way. The whole thing with the way they do villains and the whole, oh, they are smoking a cigar and they are drinking. No, develop the villains. Why are they doing what they are doing? Why should I care about why the villain is doing what he's doing? What should I? Okay, the uncle too that he wanted to go and meet to collect money. What was his relationship with the uncle? We did not know, did not do anything with that. How did they plant the camera in the hospital? How did Raymond? There were just a lot of questions that weren't answered, and I think there were a lot of plot holes. And um, my biggest complaints would be how I could not understand why Funlola's character was so concerned. Just freaking postpone the announcement. It's not that deep. It is not that deep. This is your daughter they are talking about. I like Halima said, nobody cared for that child. I did not feel anything in this. And yeah, I think that's all.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Thanks to me. All right. I can see there are a lot of people in the comments. Some people are adding to the dislikes, and some people are adding to the pushback. We'll get to the pushback section. We'll just go with Film Heady and I think Harkonnen Scum. All right. Film Heady, please tell us what you did not like about Tokunbo.
Okay. I think first of all, I think there's a Hollywood-like feeling to this film. Maybe the writing, and I think let's just stick to telling simple stories. We're not yet there. There's just this. I don't know. And it's also sad that this came from Ramsey Nouah after living in bondage. It's just, I'm like, from where to where? How? And also, I'm shocked that people like, I'm not really shocked that people like the acting, especially, what's his name? Gideon Okeke's acting. I think the worst thing about this film is the acting. It's too theatrical. It's too over the top. It's too. If you have followed Gideon, I was not expecting anything different from Gideon because that's the kind of actor he is. He's a stage actor. The way you act for stage is not the way you act for screen. If you followed him, you will know that. If you followed his journey, you will know that that's how he acts. It reminds me of Mercy Johnson's kind of acting. Even the woman to the Central Bank governor. In fact, the person that did the casting for this film, I think he was looking for over the top kind of acting. It was too like the child actor too, the same thing. Like Timmy said, you could tell they were acting. It was too over the top. It was too exaggerated. And that's the part of the reason why we could not really feel anything for these characters. Because you could tell that, when you act, when you watch stage drama, the way they act, the way they, with every part of their body, their face, everything, like that's how they were acting in this film was so bad. And I think Nollywood, they are obsessed with happy endings. Everything must end well. Everything was. That's why somehow Gideon Okeke is not driving the girl at the end, like from where to where. Also, some things were just too convenient. The scene where this what's her name, the PA was not making call, and conveniently the policewoman was on the other end of this thing, listening to the call. Like how? No, the generally the acting of this film was so it was too bad. It was just too bad. You could everything from the beginning, from the car chase, the way Gideon's face, everything was just like I could not feel, and I was not connected to the characters. Even when he was crying, the suffering, the struggle, I was just doing my nose like this. I beg, what is this? The child that was kidnapped, the confidence, like that's it for me.
Okay, all right. Something stressing, film heady there. All right, we'll get to some of that. Okay, Hakodem Scum. Uh,
Oh,
please, can you tell? You weren't here
good evening.
for the things that we liked, so if you tell us, if you can do
Oh,
it really quickly, things you liked and then things you don't like as well.
oh, okay, thanks. Someone just sent me the link to this space. I didn't know it actually existed. So for the things that I liked, I think the actors did the best with what they could on a very, very poor script. And contrary to what many people have been saying, I very much appreciate the acting of Gideon Okeke, even though, yes, it's quite theatrical, but I feel like it is accentuated by the fact that the rest of the story is so dull. So when we actually see somebody that is acting his heart out, it just seems a bit over the top. The second thing I like about the movie, I liked about the film is the camera transitions. Some of the camera work was honestly fantastic. The cinematography, not the editing. I feel like we sometimes we conflate the cinematography with the editing. I'm talking about how the movie is shown. I'm talking about how the camera moves. It's really nice in some places, especially the transition. There's a transition where Gideon goes from the hospital into Gaza's a workshop. I actually gasped when it happened. I was like, God damn! How did they do that? It was really, really nice. I know there was a green screen involved, but it was done so exceptionally. I also liked the camera move when Majid Michael was revealed, when the camera went from behind him to in front of him. So he was acting like he was in a soap opera. But the camera move for this movie, the Dutch angles that they use sometimes when he's looking from the front seat to the child at the back, I thought it was really nice. So I think that's pretty much it for the things that I like. So can I go on to the things I don't like?
Yeah, go ahead.
So for the things I don't like, it's many. I literally I finished writing the script for a review that I want to do on YouTube for this, and then I came on this channel. So someone sent me the link, and Chinwe Ike, I think the name was, and then the last person who just spoke and the Halima who just left said something that I had just honestly just written down like an hour ago. Like it was crazy. First of all, Nobet Young absolutely did not want to be in this movie. It was so obvious from his first scene where he was saying, "Madam Governor, it's a kidnap. You don't mean it. It's a kidnap. We are doing." I'm like, wait, are they forcing you to be in this movie? You can just tell Ramsey Nouah that you want to go home and be with your wife or something. Like you don't have to be here. So he was not at all interested in this movie. It was very obvious. The second thing that I thought was horrible about this movie was the audio. I think the entire movie was dubbed over with some sort of wonky ADR where they never mixed the actual audio with the background noise. From the very beginning, even down to the end where they were fighting in the garage, people are fighting in the rain and you're hearing the punch as if they are two kids are playing with toys. And then when those clowns were shouting Gaza, Gaza, it was obvious all these things was like a choir just recorded it in the studio somewhere and somebody just overlaid it on the video. So all through the movie, the audio never had any background noise. There was no actual background noise to the audio. It was too clean and therefore not realistic. The second part about the terrible audio is that all through the movie there's an action slash suspense song that was playing all through. So you keep thinking that something interesting is finally going to happen, but nope. Nope. All you just see is Gideon's sweaty face and his facial expressions, but nothing actually happens. My biggest problem with the movie, and as with a lot of Nigerian movies, especially the ones last one I reviewed, Afamefuna and the House of God, is that you have problems that are never actually delved into. We do not like to examine complexity. So, something cryptocurrency. What does that mean? That lady, the tinsel lady, Flash the CBN governor, when she said the cryptocurrency market in the first scene at the board meeting, I could swear it was the first time in her life she had ever said those three words. It was I was like, wait, what I rewound that thing like maybe 50 times. I kept like how did Ramsey see this and say good? And then they had that useless board meeting where all those people looked like they were film crew members and they asked to wear Agbada and sit down in this thing and talk about whatever it is that they were talking about. So the lack of complexity in the problems made it difficult to feel to be at one with what the fake anti-corruption crusade that the governor was on, or whatever it was that was happening. You can't tell. Okay, press statement for what by 7, and so what? They want to sanction crypto. Yes, we were there and they sanctioned Binance and nobody died. So why is it so important now that her daughter is kidnapped? And what deal is he doing with the white man to make it just so silly? Also, there was no sense of scale in the movie. So we are talking about the CBN governor, but she might as well have been the owner of a supermarket on Bajulaye Road in Shomolu. Like, why is it called? Why is she the CBN governor? We don't see any directive from the president. I don't see the IG. I don't even see the police escorts that follow CBN governors. I don't see any sense of the House of Reps are calling this a kidnap case. Let's do it. Nothing. So why did you call her a CBN governor? You could have just called her a bank director, and it would have not made a single difference. So yeah, so there's that, but my biggest issue is the sound editing, number one, and the lack of complexity, number two, and of course the rubbish, the rubbish story. There was no motivation. Nothing was motivating enough when they asked you to not do a press statement by 7 o'clock. They didn't even say cancel it. They said postpone it. So I don't really know what the problem is. Then postpone it and save your daughter. Let the police find her. And so why are you all crying? Why are you the first person to fight corruption? So the lack of complexity in that thing, which was also a very big deal in previous movies, made the movie like really difficult to stomach. So I was only pleased to see Gideon. I think his acting really elevated what little story was there, and Chidi Mokeme too was really good. The Tinsel lady, I don't know her real name. Sorry, the governor. I just call her the Tinsel lady because I've only ever seen her in Tinsel. I didn't even know she was like a full-time actress and other things. She brought the same arrogance and that lifting nose thing that she had in Tinsel. So I didn't really relate with her. I know I've seen her before in real life, and I actually wanted to greet her. And as I got near her at the supermarket, and she turned, and I saw that same thing on her face, I just passed by. I went to go and buy my plantain chips. But she just brought that same real life thing into or how what did they call it, typecast, straight into this movie. So she was not even like a human being to me. She was just like a plastic figure that was there to say cryptocurrency in a way that she doesn't know what she's talking about, and then just act all arrogant, and I don't know. It was not very realistic to me. She was the worst of the major actors anyway. But yeah, I will end it there. I will just write the rest of it in my YouTube. So, thanks.
All right. Thank you. And for people who want to check more of these things out, Equa Reviews, I believe.
Yes, it's on my YouTube. It's on my
YouTube.
it's on my bio. So I just finished it. I will upload the video tonight or tomorrow morning.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Naughty Good Fellow. Tell us, give us your thoughts on Tokunbo.
So I've already done a review of it. It's out on my channel. So I've mentioned most of my things there, and I've had a couple of afterthoughts after hearing you guys. One positive is I like how that woman is not the governor of Lagos. I guess we've had an overdose of that. So that is one positive I can think of. Another positive, I like that song, the Pato Ranking Gaza Gaza song. That was nice. That's all I can think about. In terms of negatives, one thing I have as an afterthought right now is how the movie was so non-committed. towards anything. Like, is it an action film? There's hardly any action. I mean, there was a car chase at the start, and then we were looking forward to so much of that, and there was hardly any of that. Okay, then is it an entertainer? Is it a feel good movie? Okay, if nothing, it could be a brainless feel good movie. In which case, they won't kill the baby. I mean, the only reason they killed the baby was that so that Tokumbo's decisions after that could be made easy. I mean, and okay, then in that case, is it a realistic movie? I mean, okay, we're far, far, far from that. So yeah, I just felt that the movie did not commit to any genre or anything in that case. Yeah, I felt it was very Bollywoodish, and yeah, it was like a Bollywood version of The Transporter made in Nigeria. That's what the film felt like to me. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, you're allowed to say that. All right. Thanks, not a good fella. Sorry, I
I
can't.
guess anyone should be allowed to say that. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I mean, I imagine anyone who's conversant with Bollywood enough, so it wouldn't just be a shallow version. But thanks, not a good fellow. I sorry, I know some people are in the queue for speaking, but we can't accept any. We're full here. I'm going to read Mrs. C's bad. She said, everybody's clothes were too tight. Need to fire wardrobe. Uh, having to throw in sexual assault for bands, not good. Need them to start directing Darasimi because while I love her, directing is super important. 3, 4, film wasn't sure what genre it was. 5, need to pack everybody to film school. All right, that's Mrs. C. Yeah, I remember watching the there were a few people's clothes who were too tight, and Norbert Young was one of them. I think that's probably why he was not in a good mood. I think he did not like his police officer costume, to be honest. All right. Sorry, apologies. My notes are going to be a little bit all over the place, but I'm going to try. One of the things I felt, I think Chinweke has mentioned the beginning being like, yeah, not particularly great in terms of the way it was organized, and yeah, I think from the first few seconds when they started talking, it almost felt like they were doing social commentary, but they were doing it just in the very bad expository dialogue type of way. I was scared, and then they did the they did the if you remember, Gideon's character he decides, he's, I can't remember whatever crimes he had done, but he decided he wanted to take a shortcut, and he was fully to dodge cops, but there was, whilst he was like fueling his car in the dark, a police officer just flashes their light and a car chase starts. I don't know why that didn't break anybody else's brain into what the hell is happening. Like, why is, I mean, I guess he saw it somewhere in a film where, but usually those things happen because a police officer has been staking a particular thing, and oh, it's time, or they've got the tape they need, or they've got the address. So you flash on your, but like this, because again, Ramsey seems to just take shots that he's seen in other movies and just puts them in here without understanding why they worked in the other movie or why they made sense, because that was not the start of a good thing of the film. And then, the things with the kids doing the baby shack thing. I'm still lost as to what that was. baby shack is Baby Shack is a kid's song, right? A kid's nursery song. Why is he singing it to his wife in labor? I'm just not sure what that was. I'm not even sure that what that's supposed to convey. um and there's so much of that. That's what the movie feels a lot like. It just feels like, oh, I've seen this somewhere else, it's going to look cool here. And that's what I feel like about a lot of the cinematography.
Mr.
So
C,
even what
comic
wait
relief.
wait. Uh, when I finish, if you want to attack me later. In the cinematography part, when I was talking about, there are some shots that look nice, but the way they are put together is sometimes is head scratching. And sometimes, you're trying to do something a little bit more ambitious and you haven't thought about all the methods, all the things you need to do um to set it up and execute it properly. I'll give you an example. So I don't usually bring up find the mic stuff here because that's a novelty thing that only not very many people tend to notice. But there's a shot that I thought, oh, that looks like a cool shot where Majid is looking through the glass, but you're only really seeing his reflection on when the blue and the red, when the police lights were flashing. And I was like, oh, that looks like a cool shot. But you are using the reflection. If you're using the reflection, you have to be careful that your crew are probably going to be at the back of the reflection. That's just something, because that's the way you're trying to capture Majid. You have to be aware of that. But no, we're going to get a shot of the guy with the boom mic, like literally holding this, stretching his hand. I don't even know why he needs to be there because Majid is not speaking. But we get the clear shot of him in there. This is the kind of things that is just somebody who again isn't very prepared for this. There are a lot of things that we set up. They set Tokunbo up for in terms of. So Tokunbo has a whole exercising scene where he's doing press ups and sit ups, and like, oh my god, this guy is badass. This guy's going to like drop. And the ending, I don't know, it was almost cartoonish. He didn't land, like Ota says, he doesn't even land a blow. I'm like, what was the point? Okay, what was the point of all that exercising, all the push-up and the punching of? He has uh, a sandbag that he's punching. You think, oh, this guy's going to be badass, but it absolutely has no payoff. There's so many things thrown in there. Even with the car chase at the beginning, or maybe he's a badass driver. What did we don't really see him do anything. The most badass thing he did was he drove off a bridge. I mean, I don't know how to drive. I can drive off a bridge. It is very, I mean, like, I imagine I can drive off a bridge. That doesn't need too many skills. I don't know what was going on with a lot of the setup for things. There's a small one where this guy, the guy he picks up in the cab, where he's reading a newspaper, and they ask him, oh, what would you like to what would you like, reggae, hip hop, or news? And he said something like reggae called hip hop ni. I'm like, in 2024, Ramsey, in 2024. But you think that means something. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any, it doesn't have anything to do with anything in the film. Again, it's just like weird things that he puts in here. A lot of people have talked about the actual stories in it, but the whole film just felt so much like putting things there for without really thinking about it or without thinking about the effects of it. So I don't really know what this film executed particularly well from a story wise. I really don't. There is almost nothing. Even when we set in our CBN head, at first I wasn't sure. It's like, is she going to be, because the way the film starts, it's criticizing like the government. So when we first hear that she's a CBN, I'm thinking maybe she's going to be a villain. Maybe she's and there's nothing about her demeanor that's giving, I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to fight for, like, you're just you're just thrown into this world, and it doesn't feel like anybody really understands what they're doing outside of the very, very shallow scripts, script that's there, that thin line of kidnapping the daughter of somebody. But that's not even done well. I don't know. I don't know what, I really don't know what's good about this film. When I mentioned Gideon, I said I can see him. I didn't say he was great in this, by the way. I said I can see him as our next debut because I think there's something there, and he does have a physical performance. And of course, Chidi Makeme, I thought he did a better scaled back version of the villain, but I don't think there's a lot in there, to be honest, to be thankful for in terms of what is. Unfortunately, Ramsey. The reason why I mentioned Ramsey, people who are expecting much, I think this happened even in our Living in Bondage review. I was talking about, oh, that film was so well put together, and then I started saying, oh, this person came from abroad. Oh, this person, I really liked this, the score. Oh, score came from abroad. Oh, editing was good. Oh, editing came from abroad. I was like, okay, maybe it's just because like we had very good hands on this, and because when he did Rattlesnake, I think some people like Rattlesnake and stuff, but that film is a mess. And that was what I've been expecting from Ramsey directed films now. Again, I see him like Auntie Hamisha in terms of he's trying so much. He wears his heart on his sleeves. I see it. He's seeing all those cool movies he saw in the 90s and he wants to replicate them. But he just needs, it's not fair. It feels like somebody who watches films and went, I sabi do am, but you don't know how to do it. It's not. It's just because you watched a bunch of films. This is like the kind of thing you would label against like critics. Just because you've seen films and you've enjoyed films doesn't mean you know how to do them. Anyway, those are my thoughts. All right, so we can head into pushback, things that people disagree with. I know Shozi and Hakan M Scum want to do some pushback. Shozi, I'll give you the floor. Is there anything you want to disagree with people? Please go ahead.
I don't even know where to start from. Man. Okay, I don't know who said that, but then again, I feel like, I mean, it's one thing for you not to like some things in a movie, it's another thing for you also to like certain things, but I feel like we should not get it mixed up. Likes and dislikes, I think it's different from the essence of a storyline. And I get it that aside the faulty directing and maybe couple of loopholes, imagery is really significant in movie making. Let me just remind, I can't remember who or which set of people said certain things concerning like, oh, why is he picking a phone call? Why is he driving? Doing they said a lot of things. I can't forget. Like, I'm sorry, I can't remember my head right now. A lot of things has been said, but I just want to remind people that first of all, Gideon Okeke is supposed to be like an ex-smuggler, right? He delivers like illegal cars to like a notorious gangster, Gaza. We all know that, right? But he had like a change of mind, seeing how violent Gaza was. He decided, you know what, I'm going to leave this life of crime behind. I want to be a better man. I want to be a better father to my child. Let me focus on my family, you know. And then someone is saying, oh, he sees a phone in the back of his car, he picks it. Come on, let's be honest sometimes. Like, I mean, it's possible you've never done it in your life, but when you are like in a certain kind of like, I wouldn't say trouble, like when you are frustrated and so desperate, like you need like a solution in your life, I promise you there are some unimaginable things that would really play, that you would not even believe. I don't think that part was, I don't know the word to use. I don't think that part was fake, or should I say exaggerated. I agree with it. Like, I mean, he has decided to be a changed man, but then he picks it up. Yeah, he's delivering packages here and there, blah blah blah. I think it's he's not the first or the last person to go back to crime. It just shows how desperate he was. He just wanted his child to be fine. I think for me that's what I could interpret. I don't know how other people were interpreting it, but for me, I feel like that's what they were trying to portray. At least let's just say that's what they were trying to portray. And then someone saying something about the action scene, that it just happened like once or twice. I mean, I agree with that. I think I made mention of that. I agree with that. Like, they said it was an action movie, and I was looking for the action in the movie. Like, where is the action exactly? Like I said, apart from the few carries in scenes, and it wasn't really, how will I put it? It wasn't really action packed. Then I agree with the person who said Nollywood is kind of like
Wait,
obsessed
wait,
with.
wait, 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 wait. I'm hearing a lot of I agree with. This is the disagreement part. This is the part
Yes,
where
my me agreeing to some things is like kind of like interwoven with like my disagreements, because I
okay.
need to say what I agree, because it's possible to agree with something, and when I look at it from the other angle, I disagree. So I'm getting somewhere. So yes, Nollywood is kind of like obsessed with happy endings, but it's becoming so cliche to me. Like, that's part that he's so like, they beat him up so bad, and then suddenly he has the power to start beating the Gaza just because of news. I don't know who said. I was trying to catch up. There was a lot of people said so many things, and I should have written it down. I'm forgetting. I had like a lot of pushbacks, but now I'm beginning to like forget. Okay, you yourself, Yoko critic. Let me even like give it to you hot hot. You made a statement about, oh, you don't think the cinematography is great, blah blah blah. Guy, I don't agree with you at all. Like, come on, be honest. We're not like talking. I don't think most people were talking, or me personally, I wasn't speaking like generally. I'm saying like, if you have been seeing a lot of movies like on Netflix, Prime, generally like Nollywood movie, let's be honest, like I just felt like this was like an upgraded version. To me, there were like deliberate angles, which was very, very commendable. And the lighting, again, I would speak on that. And yes, like editing is different from cinematography. To me, there were some mad ass transitions. I mean, if you're gonna let like the poor directing or annoying scenes to like cover your eyes to see all those ones, then it's quite unfortunate, man. But to me, the cinematography was on point. I don't agree with you saying it wasn't on point. Um, that's all I have to say for now. If I probably like remember other things, I think I would speak.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. No problem. Thanks, Josie. Yeah, I mean, like, it's fine to disagree with me on the cinematography. It's fine to be wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. Lots of people are wrong. Cinematography. When I say cinematography is bad, by the way, I'm not saying. I understand how people are saying, oh, these are new, like maybe we don't do as many different shots or different angles, or sometimes there are even very pretty frames. That shot with the baby, where both of the parents are almost crying, and it sort of backs off, and you have the baby in the back, in the foreground. I think that's a good shot. I think that's a good shot. But as a totality, the cinematography is very derivative of other different action movie shots that have been, that from different movies that don't work together. That's what I mean. Cinematography for me is not just, are they very nice pretty frames or are they nice angles. It's how those angles, the movement of the camera, all of those things, how well they merge together to tell the story that the movie is trying to tell. And Chinweke, before I even said it, Chinweke had already mentioned that it was, sometimes it felt distracting, it felt very loud, and for me that's because sometimes it just didn't fit well. That's that was it for me. And by the way, with the I don't know who would have said they disagree with him going back to crime. I missed that if somebody said they disagree with going back to the crime. But one thing I felt was crazy was, um, when he goes to his friend to ask for money, and his friend suggests going back to Gaza, and then that babe, I can't remember her name, light skinned babe that's in everything despite not being that great. She comes through and she also says, "Oh, don't you dare do it." He says, "No, he's never going to do it." And then in the next scene, he goes to Gaza. I'm like, why did we even put this here? why did we even bother? Like, what's if we're going to like make the that's I mean that's just something that's just not good filmmaking. It reminded me of Anikulakpo just before he runs away with this babe, where he has a flashback where he remembers somebody telling him you have to be careful about this woman, like they will they will lead you into problem. He remembers it and then he decides to run away. I don't know what, to be honest, maybe this is a new Nollywood film thing, technique that I'm not aware of, but I don't know why it keeps happening. But I don't understand it, and it always takes me out of the movies. All right. Uh, Hakanemscom, did you
Yeah.
want to do a pushback?
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to do the same thing the lady before me did. You know, I was talking about the cinematography, but I also wanted to highlight, disagree with someone who said that Gideon's acting was too much. So I wanted to give a bit of context with it, which I think the movie missed. Smugglers in general are very physical, very violent people. I served in a northern town which was the smuggler route through Kwara State in Kayama to I don't know, to the rest of Nigeria, where they smuggle the turkeys and whatever and whatever. The only reason that you can be on the road when the smugglers are passing is if maybe the Holy Spirit is your personal bodyguard, because you are going to die. They are going to run through you and not even blink. So I was watching this movie with the knowledge that someone like this Tokunbo is at heart a violent guy. It's just unfortunate that the movie did not portray it. That is what the trade is. You mentioned you yourself, I think Iroko Critic mentioned something about when the guy was fetching fuel or pumping fuel, and then he saw the police and then he ran. So I have been to Cotonou maybe 4 or 5 times. I've bought like 2 or 3 cars there, you know, like way back, like 2013, 2012. So even when it was not illegal then, and people were bringing in cars, that area is always a hot spot. So so smugglers don't just stop anyhow, or just so they are always on the lookout for things like police. I felt like maybe the movie knew that, maybe the movie did not know that, but it was not it was not shown. So now back to that physicality thing, which is why I could believe that that Tokunbo would want to fight Gaza, and that maybe he could be a bodyguard. They are violent, dangerous, evil people. In fact, I'm surprised that the movie is trying to get us to be on the part of somebody who would just kill, who would kidnap a child at the you know for 10 million without knowing if the child is going to be murdered or whose head or something. But yeah, kidnappers are very violent people. Gideon Okike may not have acted like this on purpose, but it fits completely with the character in this movie. It's just unfortunate that Ramsey Nouah has probably never met an actual smuggler, so he didn't know that that the character was actually correct, was actually right. Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, all right. Thanks. Thanks. Otas, do you want to tell us some of your pushback? Otas, are you there? If not, Nollywood must change. Do you want to give us your any pushback?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I was supposed to speak before anyone because I was the first person to raise up my hand. Actually, so I want to push back on the last person who just spoke about Gideon Keke being physical and being agile kind of thing. The thing is not the characterization. The problem is the performance. It was over the top. I understand that for that character, we need someone who is rough, someone who's kind of rough, edgy kind of thing. But this guy overperformed in that role because at some point I was like, guy, tone it down. And it just sometimes, not like it was bad all through, but at times it just felt out of place, like it was doing too much. So it's the performance, not the characterization. Do you understand? And the person said this movie that it was not that it is not an action movie. That people are saying, why is it an action? This movie was marketed as an action movie from the first time announced that they were making a movie, they marketed it as an action movie. And even from the start, from that first thing, you should know that this movie is an action movie, and it ended with action, a big fight between a hero and an assumed villain. Do you understand? So it was marketed as an action movie, and that's why everybody is disappointed. That people are disappointed as an that is not an action movie. Why did you market it as an action movie? So and that's that. So and the people that are saying that the cinematography was great. I'm sorry, this is not a good. It's not even a good. Not to talk of great. This is not a good cinematography. There was nothing spectacular about the cinematography, and the editing was bad. Like, at the point they were cutting scenes. I was trying. What were they trying to do? Are they trying to like evoke emotions from us by cutting scenes like that? There was a point Gideon was talking to his wife, and then they were cutting between this Madam President, I mean Madam Governor, talking to the kidnapper kind of thing. They were just cutting it anyhow. I was like, seriously, they could have done better. So I think that those are my pushbacks.
Thanks, Nollywood Must Change. I have to add, in addition to the editing being bad, I don't also mention continuity a lot on here, but the continuity on this was especially bad. People are laughing at that cocaine, the guy with the cocaine in his nose thing. Something that might not be apparent to you why you find that funny is because you actually see him sniff the cocaine from the inside of the car first, and he doesn't. When it cuts to the other shots, that did not happen. That powder all over his nose is fantasy. That came from nowhere. It was not in the shots that you saw, and that's why that seems off to you. If you at least like put it, just buried his nose inside the bag, maybe that would have made sense. But yeah, the continuity in a lot of places just it kept on doing things like that. It was yeah, quite bad. All right. Chinweke, did you have pushback you wanted to?
Oh yeah. So the thing you said about the guy saying one thing and then saying he won't go back to Gaza, and then in the next scene, so it's called it's sort of like an ironic juxtaposition, right? It's a filmmaking technique. It's sort of, I think it's called a smash cut or something like that. Or it's usually for comedic or dramatic effect, right? So it's a thing. But the problem here was the execution. So it's not like the thing itself. It's just the same thing with the cinematography and the editing. It's the ideas. In fact, it's a running theme in this film. So the ideas are you see the ideas, but it's just an execution problem all around. So it's actually a thing, and I like that it attempted it. Even the same thing, the thing I mentioned earlier, the parallel editing, where you have like two separate things that sort of merge. My problem was like it was I don't know what one had to. Usually when you do that sort of thing, one it was I don't know if you know that popular scene in The Godfather, where that's an example of that sort of thing, where the guy is saying he renounces the devil, and then at the same time he's clearing all of his ops. Like mwah, that was chef's kiss. That's what they try to do here. But again, and another thing with this thing is that when you've seen it done at the high level, when you've been exposed to it being done at a high level, when you see a not so high level, you just you won't. It's hard to get into it. What's one other thing I wanted to say? What's another thing? I've forgotten what I wanted to say. I didn't write it down. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to push back on. If I remember the other thing, I'll mention it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chirika. Yeah. I by the one, I understand smash cuts and that kind of thing is used, especially that kind of thing, the ironic, almost. I get that, but I'm not sure what I don't understand that here, especially the way it was done because it wasn't they they put all the effort into him saying he can never go to that guy, and then we have the story of the woman going, oh, if you borrow from him it's not going to be the end, he will keep on collecting. He, like, she had already supposedly finished paying him, but it just doesn't end. And there is, and the way it's done, actually, I'm not even sure, because almost once is there, and this is the transition people are praising that I can't quite get myself to praise. Then it leads briefly, and the way it's done, you don't even know whether he went back to the hospital or he's remembering um a conversation with the doctor about, um you have to, your kid is in bad shape, you have to do what you can to get the money, and then it goes, and then he's just back at he's back in Gaza. The next shot is Gaza. It's just done so clumsily. I not even It almost feels like they put up an obstacle and then they try to make him go over the obstacle with one flashback. And it didn't make sense to me to do that. It just don't put it there. Just don't put it there. Just have him go back to Gaza. We've already seen that he left Gaza, and he said he didn't want to be doing this. He wanted a new life. Him just going back would have been okay. We get it. You're in a bad shape. I don't understand the point of putting it together. It just didn't make sense to me. But yeah, uh, we haven't heard from Obina. Obina, is there anything you wanted to add? Wait, sorry. Is it just me or is Obina low? Are you using headphones, Obina? Are you far away from?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Oh, great. Okay, great. So first of all, hi everyone. Okay, so Tokunbo, I think let me just talk on something that a few things. I'll just talk about my what I think was great and what I think was not great. So I think first of all, this issue around cinematography, it's really the appropriation of visual language. An action film will be shot in a particular style, and a drama will be shot in a particular style, and a comedy will be shot in a particular style. At the end of the day, whatever happens in that frame must advance the story. Let me say, so the cinematographer is a dear brother of mine and friend, Muhammad Atta, and I think that we, really put together some really great shots. But I must say something, so I think the cinematography was great, but I think that a lot of the full power was in the editing, because there's something you said, Mr. C. It's the orchestration of the shots, because it's not just that, because obviously you should have a short list that essentially tells the story on paper. But when you take that to the editing room and you try to put that together, it behoves on the editing prowess. So, and again, editing it's also an amalgamation of the abilities of the director and the editor. So much happened there. Then let me also speak to something that I feel really was really the fulcrum of this film. Now, Mujit's character, there was a white dude who at the end of the day was supposed to do some deal with, right? And he needed that deal to go through. And whatever it is that was going to happen with that meeting was an obstruction to, what he was supposed to gain, which I feel wasn't properly, told to us. Because I feel that is this entire film hinged on whatever that deal was, and it wasn't. At the end of the day, we didn't know what that was. So I feel that there's a lot of post-way development around there, because what were the stakes? That there was this domino effect on everybody's life, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think for me, that's something that really wasn't great. And I also, again, so for me, it's a little bit of pushback on Gideon's character. If we bring this to real life, because at the end of the day, a lot of all these stories are really essentially microcosms of life and how we interpret them in film, using cinema language. You cannot have your child about to die and be normal. No, there's nobody in a normal state. Let's even assume it's not you. You cannot think with your right senses. You are completely, everything's over the top, because life is essentially abnormal. But I understand that trying to interpret that into screen will have a completely different interpretations by people. Just to underscore that point, I think that being said, I think Gideon's performance was great. I think Todimu Adegoke, as usual, brought it. So for me, it was. So I think all in all, if you look at Ramsey's rise, I think he's coming to his own. I think for him is beginning to sort of find his voice, if you like, because at the end of the day, the essence of mastery is finding your voice. It's like, I see a frame, I know it's a Spielberg film. I see one frame, I know it's a James Cameron film. I see one frame, I know it's it's that. So I feel I guess it's a question of time. But I think if it follows this route, we're all here to see and talk about it. But in all, I think it was, like everybody has said, great film with great ambition. I think other parts of it, music was not too bad. Sound could have been a lot better. Costumes were, I think, were really not great, average. Then there were certain scenes like the conference scene was really terrible because again you had a very few sets of people who could actually act and everybody else just below par. So there's a lot of learning and relearning that needs to happen from people who are on-screen characters and things like that. So yeah, that's my bit on it. I think it was a good film. I think it at least it had a beginning, a middle, and an end, even though there were a lot of bumps along the way. But so yeah, that's my bit. Thank you.
All right, thanks, thanks, Urban. Emma of Vatan, did you have thoughts before I go back to people for second rounds?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Yeah, so my only thoughts about this movie is about what I don't like. I'm sorry, because when I watched it, from the beginning to the end, I was asking myself, what is going on? And I feel everything, that is wrong is because principally because the story itself is I believe it's not original. I believe the people involved in this, especially Ramsey Nouah, probably saw something somewhere and decided to adapt it. And that's why it's difficult to copy. And you've successfully copied, but it's very difficult to paste because you have to still situate it within a context of the of what you are trying to achieve. The local setting. You're talking of CBN. You see that CBN, meeting. There's no substance. Okay, what you spoke about cryptocurrency, and that's it. Everyone's just talking about, oh, we need to make an announcement. This country has to get better. What is the issue? What are you talking about? Just a bit of substance would have made that saying to be believable. So, but of course we didn't see any of that there. So yeah, and it makes the whole thing to be quite stressful because there's nothing about believability there. So that's on the one hand, and then you see, I think I also heard someone on this call speak about not knowing what's going on as to okay, what genre of a movie is this? Is it an action movie? Are you, what are you talking about? And then what really puts me off is the character of Falashade. As a matter of fact, as a person, I've just written that. I'm sorry, but I've just made up my mind about that character because it's like a type character that has no ability to adapt, just to be like that from the days of Teen Set. Wherever you see, being in that, it's that same character. Even when she tried to cry, he wasn't coming out. That is that ultimate kind of picture. That uh, that Iron Woman kind of a thing. That she wants to portray, which is good. But what you have is your audience knows when they see you, they know exactly this is how you're going to act. And from the beginning of the movie, even when emotions, when it requires you to be emotional. You're talking of your child, then talking of an announcement that can be made the next day. You cannot make the announcement the next day. So there is no connection of of anything whatsoever. You are trying to say, okay, well, this woman loves this child, but in actual fact, that didn't happen. That was not portrayed. And lastly, for me, I believe there is a bit of over dramatization, exaggerated acting, or through even with the kid actor. Uh, probably she's trying to be be believable, to be smart, and to be but I think it's a bit overboard, and that's it for me. So all that just put me off, and I just find it to be tedious. Like I've said, to at some point confusing. Then it stresses me out. But that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Um, I just have to reiterate. I think if you want to know what Ramsey's directing is like, you have to look at um, Darasimi's performance in this. I think that is a perfect mirror of Ramsey's direction. Um, there's something very cheesy about it, very 90s. And honestly, I can see it maybe appealing to some who don't mind it, but it's just not at all for my sensibilities. It's it feels very outdated for me. But hey, if you enjoy that kind of thing, please knock yourself out. But I do hope she gets better directors because I do believe she has a lot of talent. Um, is there anything else anybody wanted to push back on before we go into the summary? Cool. Okay. I was supposed to read some comments. Let me read some comments. Mui says Darasimi deserves better scripts and directors. I completely agree. Wolf of Upper Iweka says, has anyone said that Uncle Ramsey's middle name is Tokunbo? Very interesting. It would be such a Ramsey thing to do. I don't know. I can't be the only one that sees it. Maybe we'll discuss Ramsey one day. The Ramsey's directorial output. Um, Lola, sorry, Lola did come up. I didn't give her the opportunity to speak, but she did say the suspense would have been better if the cards were set on the table, i.e., we know Ramsey and the CBN assistant are revealed as the villain. This way, we, the audience, are watching it unravel as the CBN governor navigates her ordeal. I also wish the script was tighter for us to have a nerve-wracking thriller. A lot of unnecessary and long scenes. The child talking confidently whilst kidnapped. Yeah, that was a choice. Majid tracking the vehicle. Why? It's a good question. I think they could have used the storytelling style of the delivery boy, and then then Majid and CBN governor. What is their relationship? Are they lovers? So her assistant meeting with him would have added depth to it. We see nothing about the character development, and the caricature of a villain is something we need to stop in Nollywood. Okay, all right. Obina, did you want to say something before we get into summaries?
Yes, just real quick. I'm also just saying this. Film writers, screenwriters, and story developers. There's something called Chekhov's gun. It's a device that states if you're going to show the gun or if you're going to show something, do not. If you're going to show something, it's better use it and just don't show. It's pretty much the science of setting up and paying off. Tokunbo, in that shot where he's punching a body bag and it not paying off, it's another faux pas. So it's a device. It's something that runs across. If you're going to set something up, make sure you pay it off. Because it's not just about this film. It's about a lot of other films we've seen in Nollywood where you set something up, something that's interesting. Somebody was talking about the little toy that was like a pig. Like you set it up. So what does it mean in the grand context of things? So just to note that it's thank you.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Obina. Is anything else from anybody? Anything before we go into our summaries? All right. If I don't know if anybody's raising your hand. If you're raising your hand, you want to speak, just go ahead and speak. If not, we are going to go into the summaries.
It's just a little pushback. Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Just something small to just add, and it's still concerning that Gideon Okeke's acting. So I hear a lot of some people saying oh, it's the acting. Some people are saying, it's the directing. Okay, can we like take a moment to look at it from like, I don't want to say a neutral angle, but can we look at it from, okay, realistically wise, yeah, sometimes in life when you're going through something and you are confused, you don't know how to go about it. It's just like some people when they lose a loved one, some people would cry, some people would, I hear some people would even laugh, like, but those set of people that would just be numb, like no emotions. To me, I feel like we should look at it from that angle. Let's not look at it from expecting like, oh, his acting wasn't good, the emotions were not convincing enough, or Ramsey Nouah's directing. How about we look at it from the aspect that like truly, yeah, Gideon was like Tokunbo was actually like so overwhelmed. Like imagine a mixture of being overwhelmed, frustrated, confused. I mean, like join them together. I feel like that is what he was trying to portray, you know that's just what I wanted to say. Like, I just wanted to like add that little bit. That I had to look at it from that angle as well. To me, it was realistic enough. Sometimes in life, you don't know what to do. You don't know what action to take. You see yourself making silly decisions. I mean, that's just what I wanted to say, Sha.
Okay, all right. Thanks,
Uh,
Shozi.
I just quickly want to add that if that's the angle, then the acting should have been understated. If you're saying he was so numb, he was overwhelmed, but he should have been understated. But this one, it was over the top, And also, I want to say that Nollywood don't know. There's a way they portray power in Nollywood that it's all over it's just in your face. And someone was saying about King of Boys also being like they portrayed power where in that film. I don't agree. There's a way Nollywood portrays power that it's too obvious. It's not done in a subtle but believable way. Like if you see Game of Thrones, I always say it's just a perfect way to portray power. The Lannister family. Like you can see these people are powerful. You don't really have to. There's a way you put they are shouting. Look at the way they changed what's his name, Majid Michel's voice. Oh, it just makes it look too like you cannot buy into that this person is really powerful. They're just trying to make us believe that this person is powerful. Also, I think generally, like we don't have good child actors anymore. I don't know because I was watching Blood Sisters the other day, the one of Genevieve, and like those child actors were so believable. They were so real. It was not exaggerated. You could just feel empathy for them. Like it was like something that is happening to them, but they were just a camera somewhere filming. It was just so believable. But in Tokunbo, whereas you see somebody that is, oh my god, daddy, like come on, yeah, is it a cartoon? Oh, I'm not gonna do that. And what is this? Do you get like? I feel
Okay,
like Nollywood should
I do have
invest
to
in
say,
child.
I do have to
I
say
want
with that
to
child actor, I think that's directing.
I want to
Child
put
actors,
Probably. I think I agree with you honestly. I think Ramsey
child
likes
actors
over the
don't
top
come.
acting.
Child actors rarely just come amazing out of the bag, right? A lot of that is directing. Some of the best ones
yeah,
you've seen in Hollywood
Is
films,
very good. I
right?
think I agree with that.
please,
I think
please the
Ramsey
directing
likes over the
company.
top
It's
acting.
not about that acting. That acting is a very good actress, please. This is Ramsey
Yeah.
Nouah's
Okay, but I,
Ramsey
I
is the
don't think
problem
I've
of
seen
this
a
movie.
lot of her
I have a
films to
question for
judge.
you,
But
please.
judging from this, I didn't like this. Then I think I was going to say something.
Everything bad
I've
about
forgotten
Okubo is
what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, Seth, we have as far as I know, we have two decent child actors. She's one of them, and Beloved, I think, did
Okay.
is
And I
another
was
one.
going to say Ramsey. Sorry to cut you. I was going to say Ramsey likes over the top acting because everybody's like this
100.
Tokunbo, what's his name? Gideon Okeke, the CBN governor, Majid Michel, like all of them, they are known for exaggerated acting. Every single one, especially that CBN governor lady. If you've seen on her film, that's how she acts. Even the address, you will see that, oh my God, there's just the setting. It's not believable. I don't know if it's the accent, but the acting, you can tell that it's too exaggerated. So I feel like that's his style.
This is the
But
thing
I'm
I was
also
talking
trying.
about
It's
with
also difficult to marry that. What's the name? This other film, living in bondage is so far off. So that is why I'm like, is this his style or is this what he wanted for this film? Because Living in Body was on the other and very realistic, but this one is just something different. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this is for me. This is closer to what Ramsey is capable of. Watch a rattlesnake and you get and compare notes and you get an inkling into Ramsey's style. Over the top thing is very very much Ramsey, very 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 Ramsey. Um, yes, and some people in the comments are also pushing back with the yes. Darasimi is one of our for me. She's one of our good child actors. I just like I said, she's in this movie. I know you. I get you don't like her. Like I said, she's a mirror of Ramsey Nouah's directing. That is exactly who Ramsey Nouah. That her performance in this is who Ramsey Nouah is as a director. Um. All right. All right. What's going into summaries now? All right.
Wait, please. Iroko critic, please. I have one question for Great. Please, I have to ask him this question, please.
Okay, is that Josie?
Okay, great. Film head, please. Can you like pull me through your thought process? Like, I mean, when you're talking about this over the top acting, please, I really want to understand something with this, especially like with Tokunbo, like Keke. What was the problem for you? Was it the facial expressions? Was it the body language? Was it the dialogue? What mannerism? I want to really like understand you, please. I just need to really understand. Can you like help me out?
All right.
The
I'm
how do I
sorry.
explain it?
I'm
The
sorry.
the
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to intercede.
You two should get
I
the room,
this
please.
we can do this one. We can do this one in the comment section. Have a conversation about what you guys because that I can see that conversation going up for another like 10 minutes now.
Film head, meet me in the comment section. Let's go. Let's
Let's
go. I need to
go.
understand this thing
All
now.
right. That's it. All right. Okay. I didn't give Ray. I didn't give you an opportunity to say anything. Do you want to say something before we start doing our summaries?
Yeah, I would. I would like to say that first of all, I don't really like. This might not be everybody's opinion. A lot of people might disagree, but I don't think Nollywood has matured up to the point where we can hold them to these very lofty standards. Do you understand? Like, I know it seems, I know it seems weird to say, but the industry, personally, I don't think we've gotten to that point. Do you get? Like, when I watch a Nigerian film, I always have this. Let me see, what would they do now? Do you understand? You get?
this is an
So
insult.
What he said is worse than anything we've said here.
It is an
No,
insult.
this is the worst thing that's been said here today. I,
that is
uh,
my opinion.
but go ahead, Ray. Go ahead.
Now, I would say I would like go into some of the things that I found like interesting, that I found like were decent. Do you understand? The cinematography to me it was all right. It was good. You get? It wasn't like it didn't blow my mind, but it was all right. You get? The acting, that governor woman was just, I don't know what she was doing. Like at some point, I was even hoping they don't even give her a chance. Do you understand? She was just, you get. Then Chidi Kime was brilliant. He was. I think he was my favorite character, my favorite actor, whatever. Do you understand? Now the story had too many holes. Do you get? There's a scene where there's a white guy on a video calling Majid, and he's saying, "We cannot do the transfer today." This one, like, okay, what's that about? What's happening there? Do you understand? Uh, what else? What else? Yeah, our director really like reduced some really good actors to just like paperweight characters. Do you understand? I mean, Nobet Young was in that film, and his performance was, I don't even know what to say. His performance was it was almost bad. Do you understand? And then a lot of characters they were just paperweight characters. They were almost objects, like the PA for instance. The assistant to the governor. She was almost like a plot device. Do you understand? Oh look, there's betrayal. Look, there's betrayal. Oh. Do you get? And then Yeah, I heard someone say that the genre was unspecified. That was true. We couldn't get that from the film. Like, is this a drama? Is this what exactly is happening? Do you get? So yeah, there's also that. Now the scene where the car falls off on the bridge, like, why? Why do we need that? Are we trying to do Toby Bakri jumping off the bridge in what's that film? Was it Gangs of Lagos or Brotherhood? Are we trying to replicate the same thing? It just seemed unnecessary. Like, almost like do you get? And a lot of times the dialogue was just exposition. Like Aduni Ade, the light skinned lady um, that was telling him not to go back to Gaza. Everything she said in that film was basically exposition. Oh look, I took money from Gaza and then he's been making me pay, and oh look, he's a bad guy. Like, okay. And then magically she gets the balls to pick up a gun, and then it's like, okay, oh. Do you understand? So like I said at the beginning, I don't hold Nollywood to such, like, do you understand? If I saw this film from a certain industry, I would probably thank it. But because it's Nollywood, I wouldn't like flog it too hard. Do you understand? I would say it's a decent attempt. Do you understand? Maybe the next one will be better. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Ray. On that very sad note, let's go into our summaries. Starting with, let me remember who was first. I can't.
I
No,
started the
I asked that. Nothing must change. Please go on.
so I looked up the people who made this film. I later realized that Ramsey, some other guy, the producer, and some production company, they have come together. They are going to make more slates of films, and I realized that we are in trouble. We are going to get more atrocities committed in the future. So I'm quite worried. You know, I really wish that you have to know what you are doing before you start throwing master classes up and down, telling people how to be successful at making movies. Because if you keep making shitty movies, you are not successful at it. I'm sorry. You guys are just trying to get money. People don't make good movies again since now they have access to streamers. Yes, I can put my film on Netflix, so you're not bothered about making good movies again because you know you're going to get much money from streamers. Instead, they made this movie with 320 million, $320,000. You know, do you know how much Netflix will pay them? So they are not bothered about writing good stories anymore. So it's quite unfortunate that this is what we keep getting. So I want them to do better. I really want them to do better. Just try, put in the effort, you know. And then I really don't want to see Funlola Atoyebi, or I don't know. I don't know what. But I don't want to see her as a strong woman anymore. Please, I just stop casting her as a strong woman speaking. I don't know whether it's American English or British English. Please, I want to see her in other roles, just as they've casted Adunia, even though she's not really good of an actress, just as they've casted her as one woman in the neighborhood. I want them to cast Madame Funlola as another woman in the neighborhood as a local woman. So I don't want to see her as a strong woman again. I'm tired of it. And overall, I'll say this movie is not demure, not mindful, not cutesy. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thanks, Nollywood must change. I think Tass, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Do you
I
want to
just
give us?
got tired of talking earlier, so I was like, yeah. So, but in summary, I did hate this movie. I mean, it was entertaining enough to watch. It's just not a good story. Well, it's not a well-told story. Um, and the acting wasn't great, but it's good background. Like I would watch it again in the background, and I don't have too many strong feelings about it.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Tass. Sandrick Shoji, please can you give us your summary?
Okay, my summary. Again, Nollywood is like obsessed with happy endings. It's too cliche for me. I didn't like the ending of the film. I felt like it should not have ended like that, Sha. I mean, you're shooting like a whole Oga Kingpin in Lagos with one bullet. I didn't even know how to feel, Sha, in that scene. Like, it was just too much of rough play for me. Tokunbo being employed by the CBN governor. Anyway, let me just keep my 2 cents and not say too much again. Summary. I really needed that extra twist. I think I've said it before. Something really, really thrilling for me to captivate me along with the beautiful storyline. But again, it wasn't there. Maybe it's just me. It wasn't there. I guess it was with the execution. It just felt like Ramsey Nouah played it safe. It's a solid movie still. The loopholes and the directing is not going to like change the fact that I enjoyed the movie. Nollywood is improving. They can do better. I mean, they can really do better. I'd rate the movie 7/10, Sha, to me. So yeah, kudos to everyone involved. That's
Okay.
it.
Thanks, Josie. Chinweke, do you want to give us your summary?
7/10. Wow. So my summary is that so while this film shows sorry.
It's not time for pushback.
Okay.
Chinweke
Sorry
and
about that.
Josie.
I didn't know my mic was on. Sorry. That was anyway. So while this film shows ambitions and it actually attempts to push the boundaries of Nollywood, it just falls short in a lot of it just falls short in a lot of areas. That board meeting in particular, it just felt like a skit. Like, is this play? And it took away from the film's credibility and seriousness and my ability to take it serious a lot. The cinematography and while it was stylish, the editing seemed to take away a lot from it. So it didn't really serve the story, and a lot of attention to these tiny details was missing. Like you have rookie mistakes and stuff like that shouldn't be seen in a production of this magnitude. And again, I hate to slack off on this film, but it's the ambition, right? I'm judging it based on what it's trying to do. And despite all these shortcomings, uh, recognize that compared to the average Hollywood film, this is actually sort of groundbreaking, which is I don't know what to make of it. Just like Ray said, we're not there yet, but unlike him, I'm not very pessimistic. I'm hopeful. I remain optimistic that this we can do much more better. I mean, I'm just going to assume that this is the worst that this is as bad as it can get. Like it can only get better from me. I hope so. I hope I'm not wrong. And I think all in all, the funny thing is that a lot of effort actually went into this. It's just the ambition, right? So yeah, E for efforts for the film. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Chinweke. Timmy, do you want to give us your summary?
Um, the film felt like a series of disconnected events um, rather than a cohesive, emotionally resonant story. I feel like it had um, signs of a well crafted story, but it was poorly executed. I can understand how this must have looked good on paper and how it must have sounded cool in the pitching room, but I feel like a lot got lost in translation during production, um, especially in how a lot of things come off, like how Funlola, how I feel she didn't really have um, the gravitas necessary for the role that they gave her to play. And I feel like careful thoughts and planning and a whole lot of intentionality would have gone a long way in making this a much better film.
Okay, fair. Film heady.
Um, everything was wrong with this film. The story was wrong. Something was wrong. The directing, the acting. I understand why eccentric. Is it eccentric? Shows your loves. It said is concerned about the acting. The thing is, I do, an average Nigerian does not know what good acting is. Like growing up, and if you hear Nigeria, if you tell a Nigerian, call the best actors in Nigeria, they will call those that do a lot of exaggerated acting. They will say, "Oh, Mercy Johnson, good actor." If you ask them, just call actors that are very good. You know. So yeah, and the story felt like they were trying to replicate something else. It didn't feel original. Felt like there was something they were trying to copy. That's why they're always shouting it. Just stick to authentic stories. Start telling our everyday story. Just make it simple but authentic, original. Let it be believable. Let me feel like this is something that can happen. This is something I can relate to. We are not yet there. This whole John Wick, copy this, copy that. Okay, see, in terms of the acting again, I hate to even compare this, but look at this boy that just started acting the other day, Toby Bakari. Like, even he's acting in what's it, Brotherhood. Like, you can be intense, but yet I will not feel that you are overacting. Like, that is what I was expecting from Gideon. Look at that brother. I don't even want to use these gangs of Lagos. Look at Brotherhood. You can be intense, but I will not feel like like you're acting with every part of your body. I just feel like this whole thing, the why this tree is just they are saying, oh, it's like a step forward for Nollywood is because it's just better cameras. The camera is just more advanced. The picture is just more crispy. It's just clearer. Because the directing, I don't know, the directing, and it's so sad that this is coming from Ramsey. Because if I compare Living in Body was a success because it was so relatable. Even the juju was it was believable. It was not outrightly ridiculous. Like there were a lot of things ridiculous in these movies. Look at that cocaine. Come on. You are delivering this thing. They are paying huge amount of money. You are saying, cocaine. This is a street boy, a smuggler. You are a street guy. You are used to hard life, so you are expecting that you are delivering fried rice, a bit pizza. There were just some ridiculous and a lot of lazy, convenient stuff just happening. It's like, let's just finish this script now and just put it together. In summary, I just think we should stick to telling very simple stories for now. Very, like, let it just be simple, let it be linear, but just tell us a good story. Don't try complicate, don't try to copy John Wick or copy this or copy that because you feel like you're selling it to Netflix. So it's something that will appeal to. Don't do that. Don't try to copy another story. Just tell simple stories. That's it. So
All right. Thank you. This people's summary is long. All right. I think next we have Obin.
Okay.
Obin, are you there?
Can I go ahead if it's not available?
If it's not there,
Sorry. Sorry. Yeah,
you're back to being quiet again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry about that. So in conclusion, I think that again, it's another attempt at something that is a step forward. It might not be the best step, but it's a step forward, and I think it's in the right direction. I feel that, and this is the way I look at it, and that's the beauty of film. Everybody has divergent opinions, but we're having a conversation about it. That's an indication that it's going somewhere. Um, there are things people like about it, there are things people don't like about it. But I think at the end of the day, we have to look at it. The way I see it is that there is some advancement, there's some movement. It might be very slow, but something that tells us that, look, okay, we're heading in the right direction because people are beginning to think a certain way. And that's where it starts from. The action is completely up to, at the end of the day, it's the action and the execution will have a lot of faux pas, a lot of things that may not work. But what is important is that we are thinking with time we will course correct and we'll get to where we're supposed to be. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Obin. Emir of Otan. Emir of Otan, are you there? All right. Ray, do you want to give us your summary?
Yeah. The person who said that the average Nigerian doesn't recognize or doesn't know what good acting is was being very condescending.
Thank you.
And,
I go talk my mind.
and that condescension is even is in itself a Nigerian thing. So I'm not really surprised, and I'm not like holding it against them. Do you understand? So for my summary, I will commend the film. Like I said, Nollywood is not like I'm not going into any Nollywood film expecting to be like, do you understand? So I commend the film. I think we need more, more ambitious filmmaking, more ambitious films. Do you understand? So yeah, there's obviously that. I also think the film is important. Do you understand? It's something that the rest of the industry can build upon. You get. But then, and why I say it's important and is what is like we can build upon it is because I know for a fact that I've seen way worse Nigerian films, way worse Nigerian stories. Do you understand? I saw a tribe called Judah. Do you understand? This is obviously a step ahead of that. Do you get? Um, I would like to like ask like, but how can we make better films though? I don't know if this is part of the summary. I don't know if this goes as if this
It
is
is not. It is
but
not. This is furthering an agenda, which is fine, but it's not part of the summary. Just to,
I feel like these are still questions we need to ask, Loki. Since we are having this conversation already, like Mr. Obina rightly said, do you understand? Because yes, the industry is growing, the growth is slow, and we obviously we're praying for the grace to not hit the process of that growth. Do you get? You understand? But I feel like it's important. There's some important questions we need to ask. Do you understand? Like, how can we do better? Like, what can be done different? Do you understand?
right.
So,
We do we have conversations every week. These things come up. We do discuss them thoroughly.
yeah.
So yes, we're very versed in in the conversation of Nollywood and how it's doing. But come next week,
So
we'll probably do a conversation. You can chime in as much as you want.
when is the next one?
Next week Sunday, we do every Sunday.
All right, no problem. So I guess that's that. I already said it wasn't it wasn't a you know it wasn't a mind blowing film, but it wasn't that bad. If I was going to rate it, probably like I know seven is a very obvious number to say, but yeah, probably like a seven. Do you understand? It was decent.
Okay, sure. Um, we do have HN. Before we go to HN, just a couple of things. I know this is not pushback section, but you did go after Film Heady about being a little condescending. I will remind you though that you did say that we are our standards for Nollywood is a little
It
too
is
high,
lofty.
which is crazy. It is like this humor, man. And also, a tribe called Judah is leagues above what we just watched. I'm not going to allow anybody. Well, it's difference of
Wait,
opinion, but
wait,
they're not comparable. That's a conversation for a different day, though. I'm just
hold. Did you say a tribe called you that is steps ahead of this Tokunbo film?
leagues above, leagues above.
By a huge mile.
Okay,
Yes. I
okay,
don't even like Funke, but yes.
All right,
okay.
Uchenna, did you have a summary you wanted to give us thoughts?
Okay, initially I just meant to ask Nollywood must change when he mentioned that they spent $320,000 on this movie. Was he just speculating, or is that something that's confirmed? But since I'm here, let me just give a summary. Um, I didn't like this movie at all. Um, I think the saving grace was Muhammad Atta's work. You know, I've said many times that it would be great if more Nollywood movies could use the cinematographers from the music videos, which are a lot better. But unfortunately, they're expensive. And Muhammad Atta is one of the few who doesn't mind sharing his talents with Nollywood. So I thought his shots looked good. Uh, you know, on the surface level. But I think, as has already been said, the organization of the shots and the composition of the shots really wasn't that impressive. This film left me feeling. a bit like how I felt after I watched all three Merry Men movies in a row, which was not a good feeling. And I do blame this on not Ramsey Nouah. I mean, I know he didn't direct the Merry Men movies anyway, but you know, back in the early 2000s, Ramsey Nouah had this particular style of acting, which was all about spectacle. Like he would do these really broad movements, bugging out his eyes and growling his voice and stuff like that. And none of it really ever made narrative sense. But for some reason, it was appealing to people because it was packaged in a body that many Nigerians found visually appealing. And I think this movie is the same thing. You know, they do all the things. They have the big stunts and the big dramatic moments. None of them make any narrative sense strung together. But you're supposed to accept it because it's done in this very grand way with this very professional looking cinematography and these huge production pieces that make you say, yes, I am watching a real movie. But you're not. You're not watching a real movie. It's just a series of events, you know. So I understand why people look at stuff like this and say, "Oh, Nollywood is really trying. Nollywood is advancing." No, it's not. I mean, well, it is, but this movie is not evidence of that. So this movie made me feel very, very bad. Like it's not like it's just like, oh, I didn't like the movie. I mean, it was painful to watch. It left me. I felt it ruined my whole day when I watched it. It was just a very grueling experience for me. And I hate to say that. I don't want to dump on anybody's movie, but this was not good, and I hope we see stuff better than this. Nollywood must change, please. Could you answer my question? Did you really confirm how much they spent on this movie?
I will double check with Nollywood must change it. I don't see him on the speakers anymore. But thanks for that, Uchenna. Yeah, to wrap up my summary as well. I think I will just ditto what Uchenna said, all of what Uchenna said. It's weird because I feel like Ramsey, we should be talking about, oh, that car really jumped, like flew off the bridge. I mean, like he really wanted us to be talking about it. I mean, it's on the poster. But like we're not, because that should be that should be the cherry on the cake, right? The little stunts that
It was the same thing in Living in Bondage and Rattlesnake. That's just his style.
eh, living in bondage is by far the least
I think
offensive of all of
I
this.
think living in bondage was believable. Was quite believable compared to
Yes,
this.
rattlesnake is very bad. Rattlesnake is very close to this. Rattlesnake, it has a lot of the elements where there are just a bunch of, wait, why is this happening? And it's just like Uchenna said, it's spectacle for spectacle's sake. Feels like one of those things where you're a producer. I don't know how true this is. I remember there was a story about a producer wanting to have put a big, almost like tentacle like robot in scripts, regardless of what script he was looking at. And I remember it, and then it ended up in the um
Wild Wild
yeah,
West.
Wild Wild West film, right? Like it just feels like he started with the concept of, oh, this spectacle should be in here, this other spectacle should be in here, and then we'll work it into the story, that kind of thing. That's what this feels like. And it doesn't feel like a film to me. They're just it's just and again, like, I can't imagine all of the effort that I would have actually taken to go into that, like Chinweke mentioned. But like, it just all comes to nothing for me because they don't come to make a whole. So yeah, very bad film from my. I think on the second watch I might find it funny, but I was mostly stressed watching it the first time. All right. But anyway, thanks for everybody who joined us on Nollywood Film Club. We will be back next week. We might do Living in Bondage just to revisit a rattlesnake, to remind people what Ramsey Noah's directing is about. Put some things in context. We'll see. But thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you guys next week. Bye bye. Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at Iroko Critic and join us every Sunday 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.